Welcome to Hannity. A Ten Commandments statue on the grounds of the Oklahoma State Capitol must now be taken down. In a 7-2 decision on Tuesday, the Oklahoma Supreme Court ruled that the Ten Commandments on the monument are, quote, obviously religious in nature and an integral part of the Jewish and Christian faiths. Now, many Oklahoma legislators have expressed regret at the ruling, and some are even calling for the Oklahoma Supreme Court justices to be impeached. Joining me now is the Oklahoma Attorney General, who vehemently disagrees with the court's decision, Scott Pruitt, as well as State Representative Mike Ritz, whose family funded the development of the monument in question. Welcome, both of you. Mr. Attorney General, let me begin with you. What recourse do you have? I know you've called on them to re-examine the issue, but I would doubt, based on that ruling, that they're coming down on your side.
What happens at times, Sean, we've actually filed something called a petition for rehearing, and encouraging news today, actually the court has requested briefs from the other side. So that shows that they are actually considering this, and they should, because it was a wrong decision. When you look at the precedent of the court itself, they have cases that stand for the proposition that this monument is constitutional. We have examples of this nationally. This monument was modeled after something in Texas. The federal courts have said that it's constitutional. And so what the state Supreme Court did in Oklahoma yesterday is say that the First Amendment protections provided by the U.S. Constitution are insufficient, and that the state of Oklahoma should take a different approach. That's wrong, and that's the reason they should rehear it.
Yeah, and the suit was brought by the ACLU of Oklahoma on behalf of the plaintiffs in this case, sir?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, Mike, you're a representative, and your family actually donated this, and apparently you had to reinvest in this, because I guess there was some accident and it was destroyed in some way?
Yes, a Satanist ran over it early October and destroyed the monument, but we replaced that within 6 weeks.
Yeah. And so what's your take on it? What are your constituents saying?
Well, historically, Sean, my wife and I are lovers of history, and about 30 years ago, we saw a trend that was happening kind of in our educational system in the government schools, and we decided to homeschool our children and emphasize to them what the real basics were. But the trend was, not only were they not teaching the basics, they were erasing our history, our heritage. And I love history. I have two, interestingly enough, in this month and year of our heritage in our 4th of July week, we're seeing two great-grandfathers that were in the Revolution. And fast forward, we saw intertwined in that history the Decalogues, the Ten Commandments that were being taken out of it. So we wanted to erect a monument. We went through the legislative process, passed overwhelmingly a supermajority in the Oklahoma legislature and signed by a Democrat governor. And we felt like that with the Attorney General's assistance and the Liberty Legal Institute, if it needed to be defended, that it wouldn't cost the taxpayers a penny.
Mr. Attorney General, as I look at what the Oklahoma Constitution says, and the opinion says, no public money or property shall ever be appropriated, applied, donated, or used directly or indirectly for the use, benefit, or support of any sect, church, denomination, system of religion, et cetera, for use, benefit, support of any priest, preacher, minister. What is your argument going to be on your petition for a rehearing?
Well, look, I mean, what they've disregarded entirely is the connection of the Ten Commandments to our codes of law. I mean, in the Supreme Court itself, in the Southern Frieze of the U.S. Supreme Court, you have the lawgivers, Moses being one with the Ten Commandments. Clearly, there is a purpose here that's different than establishing a particular religion. But this is part of a larger debate, John. You know, what we're facing here in Oklahoma is not something that's lost across the country right now. There is a debate going on about what does the First Amendment truly protect? What does it mean to have a right of free exercise? And you see this movement nationally of folks trying to eradicate all forms of religion in the marketplace. And that's not what our First Amendment's about. That's not what this provision in the Oklahoma Constitution was intended to address. We're going to emphasize that with the court, and hopefully they'll take a different approach.
All right. Attorney General Pruitt, thank you. Representative Ritz, thank you for being with us.